Hi there. How are you feeling today? When we consider the sources of our anxiety, it seems that it's our need to control the future that actually drives it. Our anxieties cause us to feel worried, nervous, apprehensive, or uneasy about any given situation. And though really, when you think about it, what is anxiety? Looking at its literal meaning, it is our habit of anticipating discomfort, misfortune, or adversity that is yet to happen. Our anxiety may not originate from not knowing about the future, but rather our desire to control it. Now, all of us tend to create narratives of how our future will play out, sometimes even creating several versions. And then we start to feel uneasy about those narratives, analyzing the different outcomes and variables, thinking about a storyline that hasn't even happened yet. Rather than letting our life flow naturally, we insist on attempting to control it. And so in this series of practices, we'll consider if we can actually control our futures. See, we're often seduced by the idea that in controlling our lives and planning ahead, we'll prevent or avoid misfortune. And yet, we'll discover how this approach can actually be detrimental, both mentally and physically. In our practice, we'll untangle what causes us to feel anxiety, and in untangling and acknowledging them, we'll try to face them head on. Today, one of the first techniques we'll practice in counteracting our anxiety is to try to stay present in this exact moment. Over time, this practice will help you draw yourself back from getting caught up in the future and being present and enjoying this moment. And so, before we begin our practice, let's begin by placing ourselves into a comfortable seated position. As you get situated, try to make sure you're sitting upright so you don't get sleepy or doze off. As you feel yourself rooting to the ground, allow your hands to drop down comfortably. You can either close your eyes, or you can rest your gaze at a stable point softly. Start to notice how your body is feeling. Detect any sensations in your legs, your feet, your core and chest. Notice how your hands and your shoulders are feeling, and how your face is feeling. And together, let's take a deep breath in, and while exhaling, slowly begin to feel the impacts of your breath. Again, we're going to take a deep breath in, let it fill your chest and expand your shoulders. Breathe out slowly, feeling the impact of your breath on your body. Allow your breaths to flow naturally and organically. And now shifting our attention from our breathing to our bodies, begin to notice how gravity is weighing your body down, how you're melting down towards the ground. Surrender to this. Notice the sounds around you. Maybe they're familiar noises or something you haven't quite heard. Maybe it's the sound of silence. Just notice this. And then together, let's notice the sensations in our bodies. Any points of tension or relaxation, any tingling or numb parts. Try to hone in on your heart beating and the rhythm of your breath. These are natural flows that you're making automatically. If you really try to focus, you might be able to feel your heart beating and notice the cadence of your breath. And as you're bringing your attention to these different things, your breath, your body, the sensations, if you find yourself considering those different situations or scenarios that are causing you anxiety, just gently bring your attention back to your breath, flowing in and out. This is very natural. This happens to so many of us. During our practice, our mind begins to wander. Don't judge yourself. Just bring your attention back to your breath. And now a technique that we're going to try is counting our breath. In other words, we're going to follow the breaths and count. So together, let's begin. Let's take a slow breath in. As we breathe out, at the bottom of your exhalation, count 1. Again, let's inhale. And as you're breathing out, at the bottom of your exhalation, count 2. Continue this pattern until you get to 10, and then start over from 1 if you can. Continue breathing naturally and organically, and notice how you're feeling as you follow your breaths. How do you feel when you shift your attention away from your worries, your plans, your anxiety, and you refocus them back to your breathing? This is a really powerful technique we can always use in our day-to-day lives. No matter how many times those sources of anxiety emerge in our minds, we will continue to refocus our attention back to our breathing with patience and compassion. Likewise, if you notice any parts of your body reacting to those stressful or worrisome thoughts, maybe it's your shoulders, between your shoulder blades, your lower back, maybe you find yourself tense and gripping your hands tensely. Just observe them with compassion and patience. It's a very powerful lesson for us to learn, to realize that despite any tension or distractions we're feeling, we all have the capability to stay in this moment by focusing on our breaths. We're all able to tap into the present by observing our bodies. When we really consider it, by focusing on our breathing, we are tapping into the present moment, and thus we are trying to dispel fears and apprehension about the future. The power of now helps to calm the mind from all of those future plans and anxieties. And our individual power to diffuse our anxiety lies within our ability to connect with our breaths and thus the present moment. Bringing our attention to all of the emotions and feelings passing through our minds, as well as the sensations going through our bodies. How do you feel right now? Just notice this. If you'd like, as a part of your practice, try to write down 10 things you observed or learned during this practice. This is going to help yourself internalize your experience and your observations. Thank you so much for taking this time for yourself today, and I look forward to you joining our next practice together.